Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's crafting adventures of the Wellness Homesteader. So I do have radiation today, so I do every day, Monday through Friday. I have to leave here at 7:30. It's about 6:30, so I've got about an hour to get started. So I thought, let's get started on the video. So to those of us in the heat wave, happy heat wave. Today's supposed to be our hottest day. And if you notice, I am a little bit short of breath. Yes, I am. I just did some chicken chores. And, you know, Frankie is a very furry kitty and not real fond of brushing, even though he was brushed yesterday. And I lost about a kitten off of him. He's losing hair like his mother. Anyway, he likes to lay on the counter. If that bothers you, y'all, click off the video. Frankie is 14 years old. Frankie's gonna do what Frankie's gonna do. He is the boss of me. And what I do is I disinfect my counters. I use a lot of thieves and things like that. And I can make him get down, but he can get back up again. So I'm just like, I'm not up for the battle today. No, not. So I want to give you a little health update, and this will be extremely brief because I really don't have a whole lot to say. I was supposed to finish my chemo last dose yesterday. You're fine, Frankie. Look at him lay there and just look at me like, you gonna give me a drink of water? That's what he wants. Anyway, because of the cyber attack that happened on Kettering Health Network, it's been on the local and I think national news as well. I missed 4 days in a row of radiation after my very first chemo. So because I opted for aggressive treatment, they want me to have one more because the type of cancer that I have responds really well if you do radiation and chemo at the same time. And it can be different for every person. My cousin is doing her separate, or was, I said cousin, didn't I? Well, anyway, you don't know. I got lots of cousins. Believe me, I have lots of cousins. So it's not the same for everyone. And that's just something that she suggested yesterday. And, you know, it was a little bit of a disappointment. But the truth of the matter was, I had told myself, I may end up needing more chemo. I don't know. So that moved my CT scan to the 14th. And that's the next time I will know anything. What she did tell me yesterday was, don't be disappointed in your CT scan results. We'll talk about them in about 3 weeks. So I'm going to have a little break after 7 radiations and 1 more chemo. Wait, no, 7. Yeah, 7. No, that's not right. Like 10. I don't know. Some more. I have a lot of inflammation and fluid buildup. That's what's causing my chest pain. It's caused by esophagitis, so the radiation and the chemo both cause it. So I did try a new product. Can I have this? You'll always check with your physician, and it says it right on here. It's called Wonder Belly, and it is for heartburn, acid indigestion, sour stomach, upset stomach. Ask a doctor or pharmacist before use if you're taking a prescribed drug. Antacids can interact, and they can also reduce absorption. And like if you're on pain medication or something, that's about the last thing you want, or nausea medicine. 7 hours in a 24-hour period. The primary active ingredient is calcium carbonate, and it does have cornstarch, natural flavors, sucrose, vegetable cellulose, vegetable magnesium stearate. Y'all, this stuff is delicious. It's a little addictive. I can see why they're like no more than 7. It's got a little sticky tag on the side that I haven't taken off. So what are we gonna make today? It's enough about me, right? And you know, try to just, if you can, overlook my shortness of breath. As I talk, I get more short of breath. I do have oxygen, both portable and stationary, but I don't generally use it on like unless I'm like really, you know, working hard. I don't use it for outside chores because it's a pain to carry around. that's probably not good, but it's worked out for me. But I find when I talk a lot, I'm a little bit short of breath. So, y'all, you've heard me talk, if you've watched any of my wreath videos, so we're making a patriotic wreath. You've heard me talk about a hardworking mom. I've linked her store. I've taken some of her classes. Well, she had kind of a major life change. She takes care of her elderly parents. They've had high demand health care recently. And she had a big 7-figure business. And she hired someone that destroyed her business, took all of her customers, I think embezzled, but don't hold me to that. And I'm not telling you her name, so it's not slander. But she closed her whole warehouse. Yeah, and that really saddens me, because she had products she couldn't find anywhere else, and she did what's called sublimation. So she made her own signs that you often see in the middle of wreath. Now those are kind of a dime a dozen. You can get them on Amazon, but hers were better. She also had a source for these wreaths. Now, because of the problem that she had with the employee that destroyed her business, she isn't really sharing where to go get this stuff. So I've been searching. I only have 2 of these wreaths, and they're different than what you get at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, because you see they're layered in, and they also have the twist ties that are like artificial Christmas tree. I forget what they call them. You can use pipe cleaners, and I have. They're just not as sturdy, and it doesn't seem like they'll hold as much without your wreath drooping. So I have a gold one. I thought that was appropriate for 4th of July. Then I have all of these that I'm going to use. This is actually Christmas, but I'll explain why I want 6. As I think this was a Christmas wreath, not a lot left. There are 18 ties. So I have 4 here, red, white, blue, and red, white, and blue striped. I figured if I did something like this in the order, or maybe even this in the order, I would only have to have 3 20-inch strips to make my fluffers. So I thought that would save me a little bit of material. I can make another patriotic wreath. I do have one that I made, but I made it on a flat wreath from like the Dollar Tree. It's okay. It's not as full and pretty as this one's going to be. So that's our fluff. Our ribbons, I have stars and stripes. And guys, we'll see how this works. So I bought a ton of flip-flops, ends of year clearance, thinking I would make a flip-flop wreath. And this started as a flip-flop wreath, and then I decided to do patriotic. So I have these patriotic flip-flops. Now, I have worn these, not a lot, maybe once. And so I noticed that when your foot rubbed, the design faded off. So I thought these would be really cute in the middle. Gives me a chance to use something that I would throw away. And I did not throw away my flip-flops because I still want to make a wreath. I just may not use one of my really good wreaths for the flip-flop wreath. I think a flat one might work better. So tools, real quick. You're gonna need a rotary cutter or good scissors. A clip, these are just dollar store clips. I think they're in the laundry section. And then I have both zip ties and pipe cleaners, and even some wire with a wire cutter, and a little metal sign hole puncher that I might use to get my flip-flops secured. I don't want to put a big hole in them. They're so paper thin, I'm afraid they're gonna tear. So what I may do is secure them with a bow to the between your toe part. We'll see. So this is like kind of in my mind. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting. I'm going to cut 20-inch pieces. So let me tip you down. Y'all, this is super simple. So I have a very well-loved craft mat. It is a self-healing mat. Now, I don't know if my blade needs changed. Nope. And what we're gonna do with this, just so you understand, is we are going to make a curl with it. So we're just gonna kind of gobble it up here. Put a clip on it, and we're gonna have like a bow tie ruffle. Now you can do fuller, you can go up to 30 inches. I'm not going to. I just think it will be a little fuller than what I want it to be, and I'm hoping this wreath will look good outdoors. And so if that is the case, and guys, these have a tendency to stick together, so be prepared. They stick to the cat. Woo. Okay, so I'm short. What do? I'll just cut an extra one of the white. You know, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? So you get the gist of what I'm doing. Like I said, use 20 or 30. You know, or these are 10-yard rolls. I will have enough. I think they're 10-yard. 4 rolls. 4th of July poly. Craft party. I'm pretty sure they're this is 18 feet. This may be a 30-footer. So anyway, let's keep cutting, and I will bring you back when we're ready to start assembling. But again, because I have 6 colors, you know, maybe I should go get my bigger mat and make 30-inch pieces. Decisions. I'll let you know when I come back. It'll be a surprise. All right, y'all. How to make a decision. So, these two are the 20-inch. You can see the fullness or lack thereof. These two are the 30-inch. And you got to remember, there's going to be one on each side. Definitely my preference. So did I waste these? Well, no, I didn't, because sometimes you need 8-inch pieces for curls, and this is a great mesh, I guess you would call it, metallic mesh for Christmas. So I will save it. This is why Kym has too many craft supplies. Plus I had a little bit left here, so it's all gonna work out. I'm gonna space these apart. I'm gonna try something a little different. I always do the bottom row first. I'm gonna try cutting everything I'm gonna use for the bottom row and placing it first so that I can get the pattern right, because there's 10 at the bottom and 8 at the top, and 6 doesn't divide evenly into either one of those, so I may have to do some adjusting. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to cut pieces and try doing this, like I said, one at a time and figuring out what's gonna look best. So I'll bring you back when I have my mesh on the wreath. A big reveal. So I've only done the outside. I haven't twisted the ties down, so it will look differently. But I think it came out pretty even though there's 10. I decided to use 4, so that means only 1, which is the blue, didn't get doubled up. So in the middle there is 8, so that would be 2 of each of the 4 colors. The one I didn't use was this. And because this is such a cute candy cane stripe, it brought me more in the mind of Christmas, and it does say here, Christmas. And you know, if you see prices that say $9.99, I don't buy mesh unless it's like on clearance. So this week, Hobby Lobby, which is by the hospital where I go for my treatments, they have some on sale. They just don't happen to be colors I need. And you would think, as much wreath making supplies as I have, I could always use more, but honestly, no, I need to like rein it in a little bit. And when I start doing my own designed wreaths rather than doing kits, you end up with a lot of partial rolls. So it gets fun to be very creative. For the flip-flop wreath, if I make it, can you drop me a comment below? Would you like to see, it'll be a mesh wreath, but it'll be all flip-flops, bright colored flip-flops all the way around, if I can figure it out. And so I've kind of gathered up all my pretty bright, they're kind of springy colors, but they match the flip-flops. So drop me a comment below. Let me know if you'd like to see that. I don't want to get too repetitious. Y'all, I haven't done a craft on this channel for I don't know when. And I just want to tell you, there's going to be more crafts, and there's definitely going to be some sewing, because we're under and we have been under a poor air quality advisory and a heat advisory. So I'm having a lot of trouble breathing. I went and sucked up some oxygen in between takes here, and I feel a lot better now. And I'll take my portable, which I'm charging. I always do when I leave the house, because I never know when I'm going to need it. So is the oxygen going to be long-term for me? Guys, I don't know. I'm not dependent on it by any means. Like all weekend, I didn't use it even once. But then I had a bad breathing day yesterday, and I had to use it through my radiation. Then I did okay for chemo. I didn't need it, but like to walk outside, I have to use it to get to the car and such, you know, in the parking lot. So anyway, another thing I wanted to tell you all, besides the fact that I'm the hugest crybaby ever, I'm losing loads of hair, guys. I washed my hair Sunday, so day before yesterday, and I had 4 handfuls. Yesterday I had 2 handfuls. So whatever the shed mechanism is, it seems to have stopped. Didn't really have any shedding this morning when I put my hair up. You can tell that it's getting thin. I do have wigs, y'all. And I don't want to be prideful, because my life is much more important than whether or not I have hair. And you may notice my eyebrows look a little funny. I've lost my eyebrows from here out, which is like half of them. So it just gives me a really blank look on my face. And I'm not really wearing a lot of makeup right now, except blush. So yeah, body changes are really hard during cancer. You know, my arm still waves when I don't want it to wave. See that jiggle? Maybe I can incorporate that into some upcoming videos on how to get rid of your arm jiggle. Not fun. And I was like, well, I need to wear a sweater or you know, something over this, because my arm jiggle shows. Pretty good at that, aren't I? But you know what, y'all? I know a lot of people that have arm jiggle that complain about it, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, I don't pay a lot of attention to it. So anyway, Frankie is still sound asleep on the counter. I'm not going to disturb him. Once I get all done, I will disinfect the counter for the 11th time today. And you know, again, I'm sorry if it bothers you, but it doesn't bother me, and it's my cat, and it's my house. Sounds a little bossy. But you can see I'm getting a little definition. I'm working a little bit on my arms, but they don't want me doing a whole lot until I finish my treatments, because it exhausts me. All right, guys. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to make our crisscross ribbon. And for the life of me, I can't remember how long I make them. So here's what we're going to do. And I'll bring you along. Although this is a Christmas wreath, it's pink. Who doesn't love pink? So I am going to, that's the bow, I'm going to guesstimate. Okay, looks like a 10-inch. And y'all, just to be honest, over here, in case you've seen it in my videos, that might be a Christmas wreath, but I like it. What I need to do, because I have so many Christmas wreaths, and the reason I brought it out here was I was like, I will make something summery. That was like 3 months ago. But y'all, at least I'm doing something. And I apologize, I've got really dark circles, and I apologize all the time for the way I look. But you know what, guys? As long as there's life and my soul is living in this body, I'm going to do my best. All right, guys. I'm going to cut 10 inches for all the way around. And I'm going to put the ribbons on first. I have found that doing one layer at a time is much less frustrating. It also tears up your hands less. Now, I may, by the time I get these ribbons cut, have to leave, go to radiation, and come back. So if I look a little different or my hair is messed up, you'll know why. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. All right, let's put one set of ribbons on. So one of the things I like to do, these are 10 inches. I have 2 piles of 10 each. I only did for the bottom, and I'll explain why in just a minute. Fold it in half with the wired edge, and this is all wired ribbon. This is really high quality ribbon. I received this from, not received, I purchased it from Amazon, but I cut from the non-wired side to save your scissors to the wired side like this. And then when you open it up, it is dovetailed. So let's just cut this one because, yeah, time's a waste in here. And then what you do is you put this in crossways, but you want to stagger your ribbons. And I'm going to do 2 twists. And then I like, and this is a lot of fussing, to put the, let me do this and then I'll hold it up. I put this, okay, we'll do it this way. The stripe and the star, the stripe and the star, simply by twisting, which you can do. And that has really filled out our wreath so far. And remember, there's another layer of bow and flip-flops. So one thing you could do, and I may do it in the middle, I haven't decided yet, is you could take an 8-inch piece, roll it up in a curl, and put that up and down ways to kind of fill it out. But I don't want it to get too busy because there's stars and there's stripes and there's flip-flops, and yeah, there's going to be a huge bow. I had this much ribbon left. This one's just unrolled a little bit. They were equal lengths. And honestly, guys, I'll have to link it in the description box. I forget how many yards, but lots of yards. Like plenty to make a really pretty ribbon to it. So I'm going to set here for the next 6 minutes before I have to leave and affix my bows. And then what can you do with this? Well, I'm going to go ahead and put them all on first, then I'm going to go back, which probably isn't the most efficient, but it will help me decide. A lot of times what I like to do, besides unkink my door, well, okay, here's a screwdriver, is curl them like this, like around a pencil, and, you know, make them stick up. That looks cute. Or if you don't want them to show, you can just wind them together, roll them over into like a knot. And I do that a lot. I don't pull them to the back because, again, these have wires in them and I don't want it to scratch my doors. Right now, when I do an outdoor ribbon, I'm doing it on my glass storm door, so I don't have to worry as much about scratching. But still, if you're gifting this, you want to be very mindful not to give them something that's going to ruin their door finish. All right, guys, I better get to cutting. Well, I made it back. Had my snack, forgot my hairband. Y'all don't look at my silver roots, but yeah. I mean, at least I don't have huge bald spots. What you're seeing is just really light. That's why I wear the headband. I've been trying not to color my hair while I'm going through chemo. So, I finished all the way around with ribbons, and what I did was I cut 8 total of the mesh for the inner rings. So you'll notice these are spread open now. Is it full enough? I still can't answer that. I went ahead, and this is maximum efficiency, guys. If you don't want to spend hours and hours doing your craft, but yet you enjoy doing crafts, go ahead and cut and dovetail your ribbons and pair them up like you're going to use them. Go ahead and cut your mesh. So because there were 10, I had to kind of juggle which color is going to go where. But let me just show you how quickly this can go. So one thing I suggest is weight down the back end of your mesh. And then you want to, I didn't really go over this, but you're going to push with your thumb and pull with your fingers. So you want to get right in the middle. Try not to twist it. And then you just walk it up. And when you get to your little weight, you just push it with your fingers. So this one's done. It goes here. And I do 2 twists because my ties are long enough. Then you want to take your mesh and kind of match it up to your second mesh. That's what creates the fullness and prevents your wreath from getting flat. Next, I'm going to crisscross my ribbons, putting the one that I want on top to the left, just for consistency. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to twist it twice. 1, 2, and I'm not cutting or deciding what I'm doing with the tails since this is not a kit. It's a create your own mystery wreath. And then you want to pull your ribbons up and out, kind of curl them around your hand. And you'll do this 1,000 times when you're fluffing your wreath. I always spend too much time fluffing. So that's how you do a cycle. Next, we're going to use the stripey stripe. So I'll show you this one and then I'll pause, finish up the wreath, and we can make a decision on the next. So again, this one's easy because the red stripe's in the middle. Push with your thumb, pull with your fingers. Stay on that center line, just so your bow will be even. Pop it in. Fight with the mesh, which sticks to everything. Twist it twice. Match it up. And you can see how flattened down things get as you work through it. So it's really important. I kind of push the first row down while I'm working on the second row, and then you go back and fluff. Crisscross your ribbons. Pick up the one that you just dropped on the floor. Again, we're going to double twist. Hand curl those ribbons so that they're opposite. Or you can do them the same if that's your preference. That's the beauty of creating your own wreath. Even using kits, there's usually some options. So let me finish this up. It looks peculiar with all these things sticking out. That's one thing I've noticed that's different. This wreath is not going to be near as full as the Candyland wreath for a couple reasons. And I'll share those with you when we come back, and then we'll make a decision on what we're going to do next.